Howdy guys, welcome back to the channel. Got another quick tech tip today, or maybe a how-to for Max's Tech Tips. Back in the Broken Life episode 16, that's TBL 16, I replaced one of these wheel bearings in my Cub Cadet 149, or the 14, and I mentioned in there that when you get these bearings, these are not Cub Cadet bearings. I call these go-kart bearings, and it used to be on eBay, that's how they were sold. Now it looks like the sellers are getting a little more savvy, and these are high precision, blah 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 bearings, but these are just cheap Chinese bearings. I think these are, $6 or $8 a piece. I don't think there's really anything precision or high quality to them. I end up burning these things up probably about every 2 years. The Cub bearings, back decades ago, seemed to last a lot longer than that, but I really haven't found that to be true today. Somebody else may have a different opinion. So before I replaced the ones that had failed last year, I decided to take a look inside them and see how much grease they put in them. And lo and behold, basically none was the answer there. So today I'm going to show you how to disassemble the seals on these bearings and repack them with grease, or in this exact case, I'm not actually going to repack them, I'm just going to fill them up. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have a bearing that has a seal that is removable. These type of rubber seals are actually just like a plastic disc with rubber extruded over the outside of them, or applied to the outside of them somehow. So these, you can just take a pick and carefully just kind of pick them out of there. I have seen them before, and I'm sure that the designation numbers up here will tell you something meaningful about how they're sealed. But I've seen them before where there's a steel seal in here, and I think with those they actually put that seal on and then crimp parts of this bearing down over them. So you may not be able to just pluck those out. More than anything, this is just kind of a play at your own risk kind of situation. You're going to have to make an evaluation on your own for whatever you're working on. Is it worth trying to do this or not? Are you going to cause yourself more problems than it's worth by attempting to add more grease or re-grease them? Like if you had an idler pulley on your car that was easy to get to, and it had just started to maybe squeak or make a little bit of noise, in that circumstance maybe it's worth trying to pop this seal out and apply some grease. But if you had the same situation on like a sealed unit wheel bearing, that one I would probably just replace. That's just my opinion, but word to the wise, not a guarantee that this is going to go well for you every time, or for me every time, or for me this time. We'll find out. The next thing you're going to need to consider is your application. On my application, these install into the wheels on the tractor like that. So this flange and this seal is exposed to the outside world during normal operation. These inner seals are only exposed to the spindle. So there's a spindle that goes through there and the wheel turns on it. So there should be, just by virtue of these being the interior seals, a lot less dirt and stuff getting in here. So those are the seals I'm going to remove. So if I do put a hole in one or tear one a little bit or something, my risks of actually causing damage down the road are much lower. So really, there's not much more to it but to do it. And these are just like, these are actually Tecton brand picks. They're from Walmart. They were in the discount bin, so nothing special there. I have some Harbor Freight picks that are actually a little worse than these. They're kind of softer. So these are my go-tos. And my last ones, I think I just kind of was able to more or less just kind of grab them. Yeah. I didn't actually get up under this lip on the bearing. I actually just got right in the face right here and just kind of pushed in and pulled out. Pushed the pick down and then pulled it out to release this bearing, or this seal. And if we look carefully, right there, right at the top, you can see I just put a tiny little divot in it when I did that. And then on the inside of this seal, you can see that that's maybe a steel shim, or that might be plastic in there, I don't know. But this is exactly what I expected to find on this bearing. And I also expected to find that. You can look in there and see there's essentially no frickin' grease in these. I mean, they put basically just enough grease in them to keep them from rusting while they were in the container to come from China. I mean, in my opinion, that's not even close to enough. So what I'm going to do is just outright fill these things up. I'm just going to pack them as much as I can. So let me get the seals off the other ones and we'll get back to you. And this one's being a little more stubborn for some reason. So we'll turn the camera back on here and see if anything interesting happens. Yeah, boy. It's like there it goes. So yeah, with this one, I just used a straight pick to kind of get more in the corner of it. And it doesn't look like the seal's really any worse for the damage. I put a couple scratches on the outside of it in my attempts, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Since we're recording anyway, let's just try the last guy, quote unquote live. Well, yep, just like that, no big deal. So from this point, this is really, really straightforward. We've got our bucket of just all-purpose, bearing grease here. And I am just going to get a decent dollop of it on a fingertip, so maybe more than a decent dollop. And I'm just going to kind of push some in. Not a brain surgery kind of thing. But really the big thing here is I just don't think a lot of guys know that you can even pop these seals off, because I didn't. I just decided to give it a try one day. And lo and behold, it's not a big deal. And with the quality of stuff like this diminishing almost by the hour, it just kind of pays you dividends in your own personal time to check somebody else's work, to redo the factory's job. You shouldn't have to, but it's the world we're in now. People don't seem to really care about what they sell. So let's see, give her a couple rotations. You can see it's starting to look kind of wavy. It's because the balls in there are starting to roll that grease around. And it's probably hard to see on camera, but you can see it. It's actually sucked it in to the other side. If you really wanted to, once you popped the first seal out, you could take something blunt like the edge of a coat hanger or something and push the seal off the other side and truly repack these. I just don't think there's probably a lot of merit in doing that. But again, that's up to you. It depends what you're working on and everything else. But for the, I don't know, let's call it 20 minutes of time it's going to take me to do all these, it's worth it if I get an extra couple years out of them. Because it takes 20 minutes just to get the tractor jacked up and the wheel off. So anyway, I will continue on with this and we'll catch back up when I've got them all full. And there we go. I will tell you that just on the basis of weight, I bet I've put 70% more grease in those than what they came with. These bearings weigh, just off the cuff, I would say almost twice what they did when I just took them out of the bag. So now the only thing left to do with these guys is to just take the seals and they just kind of snap back in. And when you do that, you might see a little bit of grease extrude around the lip. It's no big deal. There we go. Of course, I forgot to grab some paper towels before I started to wipe the excess off, because that's how you always do it. Somehow magically managed to grab some without getting grease everywhere. And there they are, all greased up with the seals reinstalled and back in inventory for the next time we need one. So now all we got to do is grab one out of the bag, throw it in a wheel, and we're off to the races, just like what you guys saw me do in TBL 16. Anyway, like I said, if you have something where you're thinking about this, it's, make your own decision about what it's really worth to you to give this a try. You know, if you had to spend 3 hours to tear something apart to get down to the bearing, I'd just put a new bearing in. Anyway, I hope you found that educational or entertaining, or maybe both. If you did, you know, throw me a like. Really appreciate it, guys. We'll see you on the next one. This is Saddington Bear. He's our channel mascot and project supervisor, and he would like you to know I try to make a project video every week. You might be interested in some of these other videos. Take a look and let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it.